What would you do if a predator were standing right behind you? When the feline assassins unleash their full wild instinct, every movement is precise, cold, and lethal. Explosive speed and merciless finishing blows turn those moments into a suffocating, spine-chilling experience. Let's witness the brutal and deadly hunts of two feline assassins. Starting now. Lynx versus rabbit. The Canada lynx silently patrols its territory, its large paws functioning like natural snowshoes, allowing it to move lightly without sinking. Meanwhile, the snowshoe hare, the primary prey of this ecosystem, relies on perfect camouflage and acute hearing to detect the slightest movement in the stillness. The hares sense an invisible danger drawing near and begin to flee. One buries itself in the snow, only realizing the threat when the hunter is already close. The hare activates its ultimate defense, zigzagging rapidly. However, the lynx has evolved powerful hind legs capable of explosive leaps, allowing it to cut corners and neutralize the prey's directional advantage. And the one that hesitated does not survive. Thick mist blankets the pine forest, creating a mysterious veil for a silent predator. The lynx begins its territorial patrol, moving lightly along the forest edge, sharp eyes scanning every bush for signs of life in the quiet. Ahead, a rabbit feeds near a rock, unaware that danger lurks directly behind. The hunter waits patiently, muscles tensed and ready to explode. The prey bolts toward rocky ground for shelter, forcing the lynx to react instantly. The terrain quickly becomes a maze of granite. The predator slips through narrow gaps and climbs over massive rocks, determined not to lose its target at the last moment. Persistence and climbing skill are rewarded. The lynx emerges from the rocky field with its prize clenched in its jaws. Amid dry shrubland, a shadow of death appears silently. Its sharp eyes lock onto a target behind a rock. The wild rabbit remains unaware of the approaching danger. With thick fur covering the soles of its feet, the lynx moves almost without a sound, a deadly blind spot for careless prey. The lynx lacks endurance for long chases, so closing in as near as possible is its best strategy. Just before the predator's claws make contact, the rabbit dives into a deep crevice. The lynx arrives a second too late. It digs, sniffs, and tries to reach inside. But the hard stone becomes an impenetrable fortress.
The crevices between the rocks provide an effective shield.
Inside the darkness, the prey is safe. This time, the harsh terrain defeats the killer instinct.
Safe.
Lynx versus markhor. Beneath the treacherous, snow-covered peaks of the Himalayas, a herd of markhor moves as if defying gravity.
The Kashmir markhor.
With massive spiral horns, they glide effortlessly along cliffs.
For the rest of the year. He's on spring's budding greens, another more solitary inhabitant.
But among these seemingly peaceful heights, an invisible and deadly threat lurks.
Eyesight, keen ear, and a deadly.
The lynx blends perfectly with the rocky hues, its ash-gray fur not only shielding it from minus 20-degree cold, but serving as perfect camouflage. When gravity becomes an ally, the lynx closes in swiftly. The lynx never wastes energy on long pursuits. Instead, it calculates every centimeter, using powerful hind limbs like coiled springs, ready for a sudden ambush. The attack happens in an instant. Before the prey understands what has occurred, the lynx's claws are already locked tight. One life falls to sustain another, the cruel yet proud cycle of nature.
Retreats to the cliffs.
The lynx retreats once more, resuming its role as a solitary phantom at the top of the world. Serval versus lion. A lone serval finds itself in grave danger. Fur bristled and hissing in desperate defense before a far superior threat. But resistance is meaningless before the lioness's power. The apex predator does not rush to kill, instead beginning a cruel game. She toys and gnaws at the smaller prey, asserting dominance rather than simple hunger. Shock and exhaustion paralyze the serval. It lies on its back, surrendering to fate. With a tongue covered in sharp keratin spines, every lick from the lion creates painful friction, reinforcing absolute control over its victim's life. In the cold, wild world, the young are often the most tragic playthings of cunning predators. Lynx versus bird. The Eurasian lynx is the largest species in the lynx genus, known as a silent phantom of deep forests. The lynx lowers its center of gravity almost to the ground while moving smoothly. The secret lies in bone structure. Its clavicle is not rigidly attached to the shoulder, allowing the scapula to move freely and extend stride length. This structure minimizes body profile, enabling perfect concealment behind low grass to deceive prey. Only when it is directly behind does the prey realize the hunter's presence, but by then, it is too late to escape. Lynx versus deer. A bold lynx launches a reckless attack at the neck of a deer far larger than itself, only to receive a powerful kick in response. Realizing direct confrontation is impossible. It climbs onto the giant's body. The hunter channels all strength into tightening its grip around the prey's neck, but the size difference turns the fight into a prolonged struggle. The deer twists violently, attempting to throw off the deadly hold. Despite heavy impact, the lynx persists, This is a life or death gamble where endurance ultimately decides who survives the harsh winter. Serval versus cheetah. A serval, usually a master hunter of rodents, suddenly faces grave danger on an open road against a predator superior in every way. A cheetah approaches. Instead of fleeing, the serval makes a bold decision. It arches its back and raises every strand of fur, appearing twice its size to the opponent. This is a display of absolute aggressive defense, masking the imbalance of power. The cheetah circles cautiously, searching for weakness. Hisses and growls ring out as a clear warning that any attack will come at a cost. Recognizing the solid defense and unnecessary risk of injury, the cheetah ultimately chooses to walk away. The smaller predator wins this intense psychological confrontation, proving that, in nature, courage can sometimes be the strongest weapon for survival. Serval versus puff adder. A grassland serval executes calculated probing strikes against a puff adder. It repeatedly delivers lightning-fast swats, then instantly springs backward with razor-sharp reflexes. For this wild cat, caution is never excessive, because what hides within the dry grass could bring a fatal end. Instead of charging directly, the serval uses an attrition strategy. It patiently circles, using its long legs and remarkable vertical leap to harass from above. Its goal is to force the enemy into making a mistake while maintaining a safe distance beyond the reach of any potential counterstrike. Under relentless pressure from this relentless agitator, the puff adder finally chooses to stop and withdraw. In nature, even a small scratch from this snake can mean death, and the wisest victory is sometimes knowing when to walk away. Serval versus leopard. Across the African savanna, a leopard silently approaches its target. Suddenly, it launches like an arrow. The serval, agile as it is, cannot escape the powerful stride and explosive speed of the superior predator. Muscular strength and refined hunting skill end the confrontation swiftly. The smaller prey is subdued instantly before it has any chance to resist. With a brutal throat clamp, there is almost no path left for the unfortunate victim. The moment that follows is filled with haunting silence. The victor drags the carcass into the shade, reaffirming the ruthless and unforgiving law of the wild. These images show why feline predators stand among the most fearsome hunters in nature. Not just muscular strength, but coordinated tactics, concealment, and perfect timing define them. In their world, a single moment of delay can decide life and death. If you found this video impressive, please like, Leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to continue following more dramatic wild stories. Thank you for watching until the end. See you again on the next journey into the mysterious natural world.